Welcome back. Jamal Sutherland's case is the latest to raise questions about law enforcement's use of force during encounters with the mentally ill. Jamal Sutherland is the mentally ill black man who was awaiting a bond hearing for an alleged misdemeanor assault. People are outraged over a newly released video showing deputies repeatedly pepper spraying and tasing him. Sutherland died shortly after that at a detention center in Charleston County, South Carolina. Reverend Dr. Charles Boyer from the Bethel AME Church in New Jersey is here with us now to talk about this. Good evening, Rev. Welcome to BNC.
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany.
Yes, we are glad to have you with us this evening. So, Rev, you wrote an opinion piece about our next battle, is what you call it, specifically about reducing police interaction in drug and mental health issues. You mentioned a number of black cases. Now we have Jamal Sutherland, who we just mentioned before you came on. What do you think needs to be changed?
Well, to be frank, pretty much everything. The question we as a black community really have to answer is how do we redefine public safety for ourselves? And history is important. History is a teacher. This June 17th, we will be commemorating the 50-year anniversary of President Nixon declaring a drug war. A drug war, which admittedly by his own people in his administration was all about retribution and control of black people for gains made through civil rights. And so the drug war and policing has worked exactly as it has always been meant to do. Mm-hmm. And therefore, we as communities within our own spaces, we need to redefine control and administer and reimagine and redefine what public safety looks like for ourselves. We can no longer allow armed people from outside of our community to come in, control, take lives without any accountability whatsoever.
And we've watched that play out over and over and over again on our television screen. So how do you think that the current state of police response to mental health calls has continued to harm black people?
Well, it has been very dangerous. And frankly, when we look at the data, over half of people killed by police start with a nonviolent incident. Over 90% of the calls made to 911 are for nonviolent situations. So many of these issues, whether they are substance use issues, whether they are mental health issues, just as the lead-in to this segment explained, all the way back to Rodney King. We remember that being all about drugs. Eric Garner, loose cigarettes, George Floyd, a $20 bill supposedly, but also his drug use was demonized. Breonna Taylor with a no-knock warrant, supposedly over a drug situation. Rayshard Brooks with alcohol, Daniel Prude, mental health. The list goes on and on and on. And what we see is that police officers are not equipped and should not be equipped to be the people responding to situations of mental health and substance use. Why in the world would we have someone with a license to kill be the first responder to situations that really necessitate someone who understands the gravity of a mental health situation and has better responses and alternatives to situations involving mental health and substance use?
Mm-hmm. And what do you want to see? What do you think needs to change? Who should be the person to show up first?
Well, so much of that is one, building out and better financing a lot of the structures that we have already. So whether it be social workers, whether it be counselors, whether it be harm reduction experts, whether it be people with mental health expertise, and most importantly, the communities themselves, whether it's parking tickets, whether it's so many minor offenses, so much of what we currently do is mind-boggling. And the only reason we do it is because it's the only thing that we know. And so what we're proposing is that all over the country, everywhere, communities need to begin to take control. And we need to reimagine and redefine what a first responder would look like. What does it look like for police not to be on the scene? How do we remove police from nonviolent situations and only bring police in when it is absolutely necessary? How do we redefine who has jurisdiction and who has control over a scene? If it's a mental health call, then a mental health expert should be the one calling the shots. If it's substance use, if it's youth, in the same way, people who have expertise. I've talked to a lot of law enforcement officers throughout my time, and many of them would be the first to tell you they don't want to handle mental health situations and they do not want to handle substance use situations. So the only reason we continue to do this is mostly because of a super well-financed police union lobby, which works very hard to keep dollars flowing to police rather than communities and alternatives.
Well, Dr. Boyer, we would love to have you come back and talk about the role that the Black church plays in all of this, but we thank you for your time tonight, and we would definitely bring you back.
For sure. Looking forward to it.
Of course. Thank you.